Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's Cupid, back with another Cupid League recap. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I did say that this season the skill gap was significantly higher than it was in previous seasons. So buckle up, because we're about to take a roller coaster ride. So, we will get straight into it. Our first match that was played is Ryevji versus Waffles and Jelly. So let's see how this goes, yeah? I think it should be fun. So, Ryevji starts off with leading Entei, because everyone knows that Ryevji's got that dog in him, you know? And Entei is going to go for a Sacred Fire that nearly kills the Ninetales immediately. Very good stuff, very good stuff. And then we get confused for our troubles, but it's okay because we just swing through it with our confusion. And now we should really switch out instead of, you know, letting our Entei die to a Garchomp for free, or at least click Sacred Fire and have a chance to burn it. But instead we go for Stomping Tantrum, trying to take as much damage as possible thanks to Rough Skin. We get Earthquaked, we survive because of the Shucca Berry, and it counters by, you know, Earthquaking obviously, and we live, which is very good. And then in response to that, we decided it's time to chomp the Garchomp by using Crunch, and it does nothing, and we take more Rough Skin damage, and we trade our Entei for 33% HP of the Garchomp. In comes Sharpedo to instantly Mega Evolve and click Waterfall, as opposed to something like Ice Fang, which is ×4 super effective. Garchomp counters with Brick Break, which is not a standard tech that you will see on Garchomp. And then we're going to Aqua Jet. No, we're going to Waterfall, and we're going to get the Flinch, actually, and not kill the Garchomp. But it's okay, because after that, we are going to pick up the kill with the Aqua Jet, and then we are going to bring in Kartana, and to counter that Kartana, Honchkrow comes in. Now I have a simple question. Why don't you usually see Air Slash on Kartana? Well, did you know that when your base stats look like this, you typically don't want to run special attacks. Typically instead you will run physical attacks. But instead we have decided to go for Air Slash on Kartana. It works out though, because we get the flinch and we are never punished. And then we go for it again, and this time Honchkrow hits through and kills us with a Heat Wave. Mimikyu is going to come in to pick up the kill with Play Rough. We don't waste our Z move here. That's very, very useful. In comes Galvantula, and now we are going to use our Z move to bring this Galvantula all the way down to its Focus Sash. And Galvantula is going to counter with Signal Beam, which is a Bug-type move that's not as good as Bug Buzz, and that's okay. Mimikyu has Shadow Sneak afterwards, so our opponent's going to go into Talonflame here and use Flare Blitz, and to counter that, we use Play Rough, which is probably the worst move to click in this situation, thanks to this Pokemon's Flame Body ability, and in addition to that, it resists Fairy. It's a Fire type. We do get the attack drop, and for whatever reason, this Talonflame happens to be White Herb, which works out here, which is pretty cringe, I'm not gonna lie. And in comes Type Null, and guess what move this Type Null clicks? Do you guys think it's gonna click Body Slam, Rock Slide, Facade? What do you think it'll click? Well, Talonflame goes for Acrobatics, the Type Null clicks Signal Beam, which is ×4 resisted by Talonflame. And Talonflame's going to continue just using Acrobatics, and we're still going for Signal Beam. And I don't know if you guys know this, but this Type Null is only going to click Signal Beam. It's going to rest, Sleep Talk, and it's going to Sleep Talk for Signal Beam. So at this point, I feel like this shit just put it in the Mangekyo Sharingan, and I am under a Genjutsu. And it works. It defeats the Talonflame, oddly enough, but in comes Terrakion to kill us with Sacred Sword. But it's okay, though. We have a Grass type against a Rock type, so clearly we just have to click a Grass move, right? Well, Continental Crush hits, we survive, and we don't click a Grass move, and we hit it with Spirit Shackle, and we probably wouldn't have killed anyway based on how little damage that does. And Poison Jab is going to pick up the kill on us. Game 1 goes to Waffles. Game 2, we have the Primarina versus the Galvantula, and Primarina is in the lead spot. We're going to switch out because we don't want to get Primarina killed. We go into Entei, because, you know, Entei got that dog in him. And Entei goes for Stomping Tantrum as opposed to something like a Fire attack, which is actually super effective on this bug, and we die to a Thunder. And now Thunder is going to do half to our Kartana anyway. We are going to Sacred Sword, pick up the kill, get an attack boost on our Kartana. Very, very nice stuff. In comes Garchomp, and we click Leaf Blade, which is actually a fair click, and this Garchomp is max HP, max physical defense, and it counter kills us with Earthquake. In comes Primarina, and Primarina is going to click the move Play Rough. Now, I have a question for you. Why don't Primarina Play Rough? Why don't they use that? Well, when your base stat totals look like this, typically you don't want to use Play Rough. Maybe you want to use a special attack instead. But, you know, we have Play Rough instead here. We're gonna switch out of the Ninetales. We're gonna sacrifice our Mimikyu's Disguise on the Ninetales. And this Ninetales is also physically defensively boosted. And Ryevji goes for Blizzard. Now, Waffles and Jelly sees Destiny Bond and is just simply like, I will just not hit it. And oddly enough, by the way, this Mimikyu is faster than this Ninetales, meaning this is a defensive Ninetales. Now, Play Rough from the Mimikyu does 17%, which implies to me at the very least that this is physically defensive Ninetales, which is atrocious. But it's okay, because, you know, Confuse Ray. Now we are going to switch into Sharpedo, get Blizzarded for our troubles, and at this point this Ninetales is just going to click ice moves like it's Itachi spamming the Mangekyo Sharingan. It survives a Poison Jab, kills us with Freeze Ray, we're losing our Sharpedo, Mimikyu comes back in, and we are slower than this, so we do need to switch out. Mimikyu is going to get a free Shadow Claw off on Honchkrow, even though Play Rough was a completely acceptable click there. In comes the Primarina, once again, to demonstrate its very, very powerful base 74 physical attack, and use Play Rough. And we are going to continue using Play Rough on the Honchkrow, and this time Honchkrow crits us with a Sucker Punch, and we do pick up the kill, which is pretty nice that worked out for us, but Moonblast would have done it in one hit. Anyway, Ninetales comes in, and we are still trying to demonstrate our whopping 74 base attack, and we go for Aqua Jet, and we don't pick up the kill on Ninetales. In comes Mimikyu. This is faster, and it will now pick up the kill with Shadow Claw. Now, Talonflame is going to come in, use Acrobatics. This Talonflame is still holding an item, but it doesn't really matter because Deki Dewey decides to die to a Flare Blitz, and Waffles gets the 2-0 win. Very, very good stuff. Alright, the next match we have Plasma versus Roots. We'll just get straight into it. So Plasma leads with the Clefable, or perhaps Zoroark, and in comes the Great Tusk as the counter lead. Tusk goes for Stealth Rocks as Clefable picks up a kill with Shadow Ball, and obviously this is, you know, not a Clefable. There's no way that Clefable's doing that much damage with Shadow Ball, right? So we switch into the Sky Tiger, get an Intimidate off, which is absolutely huge. Now we are going to Defog as Garganackle comes in, and Plasma pulls a Juvenile, except for with Toxic, and tries to go for Toxic on a Pokemon that is immune to Toxic. In comes the whopping Slowking, and boom, Terastallization. And guys, Terastallization is against the rules in this league, and they decide to stop the match here. Plasma saying, I will play on, but Rudes is like, wait, no, I broke the rules, let us stop. So, they do stop. Now, after watching this, I was like this, because I have made it abundantly clear, multiple times, that Terastallizing is not legal for this league. That being said, Terastallization is going to be the result of this game. Plasma wins game 1. Alright, let's see about game 2. Maybe we can get some better play game 2 without Terastallizing. Alright, we have a lead Lilligant. We go into the Landorus immediately, as we just have a raw Play Rough attempt from the Mega Mawile. That would have still done quite a bit, provided this is not a physically defensive Landorus, which it probably is. That Earthquake didn't really do that much, and we survive an Ice Spinner, which tells me that, yes, this is very much a defensive Landorus, because Ice Spinner should have done way more damage. And in comes Mecha Mothra. It gets its Quark Drive for speed. We don't get a boost on Fiery Dance. We go for Energy Ball here. We get Salt Cured, take nearly half of our HP, half after the Salt Cure damage. And now we're going to switch out, get into Lilligant here, as Garg is going to set up by healing itself. And Iron Defense is used. Lilligant is going to Victory Dance again. And, I mean, at this point, we have a Hustle-boosted Bloom Doom at ×2. That's going to kill. And provided Hustle doesn't miss, this is a sweep. This is a 6-0. So, let's see if that happens. Close combat, Ice Spinner, close combat, yeah, all that good stuff. And we miss Ice Spinner on the Zapdos, and we died to Supersonic Sky Strike. Very, very unfortunate stuff. Now we're gonna go into Clefable to use Wish. We get Thunderbolt paralyzed for our troubles, and the only way we can throw this game is by sacrificing our Pokemon that is ×4 weak to Grass in a superior endgame. And we successfully sacrifice our only Pokemon that wins us the game. And now we go into Hisui and Zoroark. We died to a Hurricane. Clefable's gonna come in, also probably die to Hurricane, as Zapdos is gonna heal to full. Yeah, Hurricane. We get the Confusion. Confusion hurt. You know, now we have Parafusion going on. Hurricane again. We get a Wish off through that. That's very good. But this game's over. We're just going to go straight into the Superior. Moonblast drop wouldn't matter because of Contrary. And now it is Moonblasting time. Or it's Leaf Storming time. It's Storming time. None of Plasma's Pokemon outspeed this. And we are going to Storm. And Rudes decides to try and pull a Juvenile by paralyzing a Pokemon that's already paralyzed. Now we are going to Substitute. And really, we should just be clicking Leaf Storm. There's no win condition for Plasma here. You just Leaf Storm and you win, provided you don't miss. So there's another Leaf Storm, and at this point, the third Leaf Storm will kill because this is not an unaware Clefable. And yeah, in comes the Slowking, which dies in one hit, and in comes the Landorus, which dies to Hidden Power at this point. Now, if I'm Plasma, I'm thinking, how do I possibly recover from fumbling like Mark Sanchez running into his teammate's ass? Shoutouts to the New York Jets. Well, I guess next time we just don't sacrifice the Iron Moth to Superior before Superior, right? Surely we just keep the Iron Moth alive until the end of the fight, right? Maybe we will learn, right? Anyway, we have lead Landorus versus lead, Ice Spinner Boy. Ice Spinner Boy goes for rocks immediately, and then Scizor takes half from close combat, which tells me that this Scizor has to be offensive. Anyway, we go for U-turn, get a crit, it does half, which definitely means offensive, and in comes the Clefable, which uses Shadow Ball and picks up a kill. Shadow Ball does 80% to this Mawile, and boom, big surprise, it's not Clefable at all. It has been Zoroark. And in the chat, Rude says, "Oh damn, I didn't see that coming." But let me tell you, I feel like even this character who is blind, Toph Beifong from Avatar, could have seen that coming. That one was not a hard one to see. Next, we have Scizor, Bullet Punch, right? In comes Bullet Punch, right? We are not going to stay in on the guard. We are probably going to go into Young Choice Scarf, U-turn Earthquake, and we are going to click Defog as we are going to get Salt Cured and start taking dot damage, which is very, very strong. Now we're going to U-turn out, get in Clefable, the real Clefable, and Iron Defense is being used. Now we are going to try and Thunder Wave a Pokemon that is immune to Thunder Wave, just like Juvenile would said. This is a certified Juvenile-approved classic. As now we go for Moonblast, and at this point we are losing to this Garganacl. Like, we're just losing, right? Like, surely Roots doesn't throw the Garg, right? Surely Roots does not throw the Garg, right? Well, we will see, I guess. So we're taking essentially non-existent damage, and we are gonna Iron Defense while already at +4 because I guess we're trying to PP stall. That was not necessary. Now we are going to go for Body Press, picking up solid chip damage, a whopping 30%. Plasma's not really trying to do anything about it either. Plasma should have probably wished there if Plasma wanted a chance. But now it is too late. So we sack our Clefable. And in's gonna come the Iron Moth. Now, I don't know if you guys remember what the exact situation was last game, where once Iron Moth died, Superior won the game. But, this shit's looking pretty similar, not gonna lie. And now we are going to Energy Ball, get the defense drop. Body Press hits us for 68%, which is a lot of damage for us to take on our Pokemon that we need to survive Serperior. In comes Dragapult, which is slower and dies to a crit Dazzling Gleam. Very good. I'm really glad that Roots decided to give us Dragapult for free. And now we are going to Fiery Dance, get the boost, and die to Zapdos. Now, if you're me, you're probably thinking, he can't keep getting away with this, right? You know, surely Rudes will not win with last Pokemon Serperior again, right? In comes Lilligant Hisui. All it has to do is hit an Ice Spinner, and it doesn't. And now Zapdos is going to Defog, and we hit the second one. And now in comes the Serperior. It's going to glare us. We are going to get reduced. And I don't know why Plasma didn't decide to just attack with Leaf Spinner. Or, I'm sorry, with Ice Spinner. Because it would have killed. Even a fighting move would kill here. We were Hustle boosted. I mean, maybe we're not that strong, but like, come on. You gotta apply pressure. Don't let this thing substitute on you. It's gonna heal out forever. And now we're gonna Z-move a substitute. And we're paralyzed. And yeah, I don't know if you guys remember, but the only way Plasma loses this is if Iron Moth dies. But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing's changed at all? And now the entire match is looking like this exact moment. Shoutouts to the New York Jets as Plasma loses the entire game by fumbling off of his own teammate's ass. Very good. Congratulations, Rudes, for your 2-1 win over Plasma. Next game, we have Auto Minus Rex YT versus Antkiller. Now, this game's not super crazy. It's pretty normal, I would say. We have, you know, Kleavor in using Stone Axe, doing 24% to the Ferrothorn, and taking 38% in return. And then it goes for Sandstorm. We have a Hippowdon, but we go for Sandstorm. And then we are going to U-turn into this Ferrothorn and nearly die. Now the Ferrothorn is going to Leech Seed, getting up the free seeds and additional damage on this Dracozolt. And it's going to also take the Dracozolt's item, and, you know, get some extra Leech Seed chip. And this Ferrothorn is going way too hard. And in comes the Porygon versus the Cradily matchup. Now, if you guys don't know, or haven't seen this match, I am going to explain this. Antkiller is out here. He's got Ice Beam. He's got Recover. He's spamming that shit like he's Itachi using the Mangekyo Sharingan. And I feel like I'm in a Genjutsu watching this, because he's about to do this over and over and over again. But we have the counter Mangekyo Sharingan, being that Otto is doing his best to just spam Energy Ball and Recover as well. So now we have a battle of the two Pokemon that have the Mangekyo Sharingan. That's pretty crazy, right? And now, Otto decides it's time to try a different move, and Antkiller teleports out, freeing us from the Genjutsu. Antkiller now goes for High Jump Kick, completely misses, and takes half of his HP on his Cinderace. That's not what you want to see. And then Antkiller does it again, for fun, and loses Cinderace for free. Fun fact, 1% chance of that happening. But it's okay though, because we have a Nidoking in the back. Nidoking's going to come in, use Ice Beam, and not kill because we are Balloon Nidoking, as opposed to Sheer Force Life Orb Nidoking. So, we are going to Ice Beam. I mean, it does pick up the kill on Kleavor, at least, because Otto decides that Cradily needs to survive. This is not enough speed. For some reason, this Dracozolt is not max speed. Or, it could have been max speed, but this definitely is max speed. Anyway, to stop the reign of terror of the Nidoking, we decide that it's time for us to use our Z-move on a Pokemon with half HP. In comes Greninja with Battle Bond, and it is going to Ice Beam, and get its Ice Beam boost, and its Battle Bond boost. Fun fact, Battle Bond's been nerfed. It is no longer a permanent change. It is now a stat boost. Anyway, we're gonna get off a couple of Ice Beams. In comes Sturdy, the Dawn fan. And guess what time it is? It's time for us to get put back in a Genjutsu. As Ice Beam is going to be spammed over and over again, and you know that Itachi only be using the Genjutsu. We get Toxic Poison off, but it doesn't matter, because this Pokemon has... It's literally going to just sit here and it's going to use Ice Beam on you like Itachi using the Mangekyo Sharingan until you are perished. Because Ant Killer really do be out here spamming that shit. It's just Ice Beam recover for the remainder of the fight. I'm sorry to tell you guys this. Minus does not play Slack Off on his Hippo, and that is going to be game 1, and freeing us from the Genjutsu. Let us go ahead and get into game 2, and now we have a Hippowdon at lead as against the Ferrothorn, and we didn't learn from last game that sending in Cleavor against Ferrothorn's a bad idea. So we're going to switch into Cleavor, and we are going to get knocked off, and then we are going to also U-turn into this, taking half of our HP to accomplish switching and letting our Pokemon we switch into get Leech Seeds on it for free. And also lose its item, because Ferrothorn is, you know, just soloing this team at the moment. Greninja's going to come in on Flamethrower at this point, and even with doubled speed, I'm pretty sure for some reason this Greninja is faster. Otherwise, Ant Killer shouldn't have made that play. But, tragically for all of us, Otto decides that it's not a good idea to click Bolt Beak on the Greninja. And, yeah. So, now Greninja's gonna Ice Beam, like, 6 more times, and then die to a Cleavor U-turn. Now Dracozolt comes back in with 1 turn left of Sandstorm, and I got some bad news for all of us. Bolt Beak is not killing this, and it's back. The Genjutsu is back. We are going to use Ice Beam, and we are going to use Ice Beam, and we are going to use Ice Beam, just like Itachi is using the Mangekyo Sharingan. You have one game plan, and we are going to stick to it. Ice Beam, Ice Beam, Ice Beam, Ice Beam, Ice Beam. And yeah, we have a lot of this to look forward to. Did you guys like Ice Beam? Did you guys like you know, Mangekyo Sharingan using Ice Beam? And we pick up the kill, getting the knockout here. But do you think that Ant Killer is going to stop clicking Ice Beam? You are a fool. This Pokemon is out here spamming that shit like his name was Itachi Uchiha. Ant Killer doesn't care. Cry. Cry. And we have a teleport into Ferrothorn. And Ferrothorn is going to get a Power Whip crit that kills the Hippowdon. Now, I don't know if that crit mattered. It probably did. But, you know, it is what it is, right? And now Otto is going to go into Como and start setting up Dragon Dances. At this point, all of Ant Killer's Pokemon are very fragile, so you don't really need to Dragon Dance a 3rd time. And after a couple of Power Whips and Leech Seed chip, we are gonna die. Our Como is going to die. So we have to use our Z move so we don't die to Rocky Helmet plus Iron Barbs chip, and in comes the Libero Pokemon to Sucker Punch us into, coincidentally, Leech Seed range. And in comes Cleavor, and we are going to Sucker Punch that too. And Ant Killer wins pretty convincingly. Next up, we have Zera and Aaron, and this is the most normal match of the entire week. This is the most normal match of the entire week. Really, there's not much to... There's really not much to say. It's all pretty self-explanatory. We have a bunch of momentum switching around. Blissey gets up rocks, you trick the Choice Specs onto the Blissey, which essentially makes that Blissey a significantly less good Pokemon. But, I mean, it can still do its thing. We're gonna let ourselves get Shadow Balled so we can Chilly out. In comes Incineroar, because, you know, Incineroar, after taking Rocks damage, reveals that it is very much Assault Vest. That forces out the Golden Go. Luckily, we have a Mandibuzz to come in and also, you know, not get too affected by the Incineroar. So the Mandibuzz is going to leave. Vicavolt's going to come back in. Because, you know, Vicavolt comes back in. Gets up the webs. I don't know how useful the webs are in this matchup. I mean, they do make your Lycanroc faster than the Lopunny, and also the Screamtail, but, like, Screamtail's got Thunder Wave. So, you know, it ain't that big of a deal. Goldango's gonna come back in. This is a free Shadow Ball / Make It Rain. It's probably gonna be Make It Rain. There's Make It Rain. And that shit does 27% to Corviknight, which is non-existent damage, let's be honest. Because Corv's just going to roost that off. And Zera is like, wow, Corviknight's broken. I should use Roost all the time. Anyway, Mandibuzz is going to take that Rocky Helmet chip and get the knockoff, so there is no more Rocky Helmet on the Corviknight. In comes Vikavolt with Discharge. We get the para on the Blissey. Now we're going to Volt Switch out, because, you know, we don't want to be in on a Blissey. And honestly, this Blissey is paralyzed. I don't know why we wouldn't just go into Valiant and click a fighting move. So based on that, I'm going to go with the fact that Valiant just does not have a fighting move, and that that Spirit, also known as Aaron, is going to just win the battle, purely because of no fighting move on Valiant. Anyway, we're going to get chipped by Shadow Ball here, and on this roost, the Golden Go goes for Nasty Plot, which is really, really strong and absolutely terrifying, especially if you're Zera, because now Incineroar comes in, it's at health, it's at half, and it takes 17%. From a Nasty Plot boosted Goldango, Shadow Ball. 17%. So that should tell everyone at this point that there is no doubt that is an Assault Vest Incineroar. Very cool stuff. Anyway, Vikavolt's gonna roost up, heal all the way up. Blissey's gonna go for Seismic Tosses. I mean, sure, I guess. And Blissey has to switch out at this point because Blissey is now Choice Specs, which means that it can't just stay in and soft-boiled, which means Vikavolt's gonna get to heal with a Roost on the switch and then get off a Discharge or two. Goldango is going to go for, you know, Nasty Plot plus its own Recover. And then it's going to get off a Shadow Ball, picking up the kill on Goldango. In comes Incineroar at 9%. And we are slower than Incineroar because we were slower than Vikavolt. Luckily for us, Incineroar decides to opt for Flare Blitz on Dondozo. And I don't know if you guys look at Zera's team. Show me one Pokemon, aside from Thunderbolt Valiant, that has a chance against a Dondozo with Curse. Show me one Pokemon. So Dondozo's doing its thing. Zera goes in for Toxic. Okay, Toxic. We could get there. Dondozo doesn't have Rest. We haven't seen the last move yet. We have Curse, Liquidation, Earthquake, but we have not seen Rest. We have a Liquidation on the Corviknight here. Body Press does 10%. Liquidation on the Corp does 25%. We're not exactly getting anywhere here, but it's okay. Because Dondozo does reveal final move is Rest. Meaning, the fact that this Valiant hasn't come out yet tells me that this Valiant is not set up to do anything. Like, what the fuck? Where is your Valiant? Why haven't you brought him in? Why hasn't he done anything? Where is he? Like, surely you could Thunderbolt this, you could at least fighting move this. Like, you could Fairy move the Lopunny or something. Or the Mandibuzz, just, like, do something! Valiant, you're, like, 19 or 20 points, and you're legal in this league. Why aren't you doing anything? But it's okay, because we really have decided that Corviknight is our answer to Dondozo, and, we are going to now go for Body Presses Dondozo. Curse is all the way up to ×3 at this point. Liquidation is solidly 2-hit KOing this Corviknight now, and, I mean, there's just no crit. There is no crit, right? Valiant is finally going to come in at this point, but at this point, it's far too late. Leaf Blade, no crit, does 13%, and you die to Liquidation. And guess what else happens? Slowking Galarian is going to die to Earthquake. And that's it. And that is a 6-0 win in Game 1 for Spirit. Game 2. Let's see how things go in Game 2. Surely Zera will definitely keep the Vikavolt alive, if he is not going to, you know, use really good coverage moves / good moves in general on the Valiant. So surely he will keep Vikavolt alive this time, right? Well, let's see. We have U-turn, you know. This is just standard Assault Vest things. Standard Assault Vest Incineroar things. We have Thunder Wave coming out on the Corv. Vikavolt's gonna get U-turned into from Corv. Blissey comes in, we're gonna Volt Switch out. We're gaining a bunch of offensive momentum here for Zera, but the issue is that, I guess Zera just does not like fighting types, because we're gonna click Stone Edge twice on Goldango, instead of making, you know, like a crunch play, or even just a close combat trying to hit the Blissey that's directly in front of us. And we're just not going to bring in Val, but it's okay, because after a U-turn, Dondozo comes in, and U-turn sends in Vikavolt, and we can get more momentum off by going into Volt Switch, and we decided to Drain Punch the Mandibuzz. Now, I would have probably just U-turned again, to be honest. I mean, I think to me, it's pretty obvious that, like, worst case scenario is that if you U-turn on the Blissey, you just go into something that, like, you can afford to have paralyzed, like your, I believe... Oh wait, no, this isn't the game where Rock is paralyzed. Never mind. I lied. Yeah, you could just go into Corv, and then U-turn again. Yeah, we have a bunch of switching around. We have a Wish Pass to a full HP Goldango, which, you know, it's pretty fine. Who really cares, right? And yeah, it's just a bunch of Volt Switch U-turn, Volt Switch U-turn coming out of Zera, which is respectable play. We get a Discharge Para off on the Scream Tail here, which is huge. Now Vikavolt is able to get up a Sticky Web, which is also huge. And we are going to Volt Switch as Blissey comes in. We're going to go into Incineroar, and Wish is going to heal Blissey for 30%. Now we're going to Drain Punch the Blissey for 34%. And Blissey is going to not be able to come in on that. Now we have U-turn, as, you know, Blissey can't stay in anymore. We're going to U-turn into Lycanroc here. Lycanroc is probably going to go for Stone Edge again. But instead we go for Iron Head, checking specifically to see if Scream Tail stays in. Stone Edge is 10 less power. I don't understand why we would click Iron Head there. Because Stone Edge hits the rest of the rest of the Pokemon here better. But hey, you know what? It's fine. In comes the Lopunny. Even after the speed reduction, it's going to be faster than Vikavolt. So we go into Corviknight to get Rocky Helmet Chip off on the Lopunny because, you know, Fake Out is a pretty obvious turn 1 from Lopunny. U-turn on the Goldango coming in. In comes Incineroar to wall the Goldango. Scream Tail comes in. Yeah, this is all, like, pretty standard stuff. U-turn, gain more momentum, Lycanroc versus Scream Tail again. This time are we clicking Stone Edge? We are. And Goldango takes 36%, and that's a hard recovery. But instead of continuing to apply pressure, Zera simply decides, you know what, let me just heal Corviknight again. And we go into Corviknight, and we let him Nasty Plot, and the Goldango is at full HP. Literally. All that accomplished was letting Goldango get to +1, and getting Incineroar to die, essentially. It took Rocks damage, and then you Flare Blitz trade it, right? And if Incineroar's entire purpose was to 1v1 that Pokemon, that is understandable. We're gonna take out our Incineroar now, get close combated on our Corviknight, take some Rocky Helmet Chip, which is very nice. We're probably gonna Roost again because it's our favorite thing to click, but we're gonna get paralyzed, and it's time for us to deal with loss, and we are going to lose our Corviknight. Zera is really, really preoccupied on using the move Roost, especially with Corviknight, because Corviknight apparently needs to be at full health to take any attacks. That's all I have seen so far. But meanwhile, me, as an offensive player, I'm watching this shit, and I'm just thinking, like, what the fuck is he doing? You have a whole Valiant. Like, what item is on your Valiant? Fucking a Sticky Barb? Are you trying to lose HP every turn with your Valiant? Like, why haven't you done anything with it? Valiant finally comes in, doesn't even have a booster energy or anything like that. And it's just, like, what is this, Assault Vest? It's Assault Vest, I'm guessing? You get Toxic Poison for your troubles. You don't even pick up the kill with Spirit Break on the Mandibuzz? Like, what is this? Lopunny's gonna come back in. It's gonna be speed reduced, but tragically for all of us, Zera decides that we are not faster after Sticky Webs. So we just switch out of our Valiant and bring in Vikavolt, which is fine because Vikavolt survives the frustration, picks up the kill, and Volt Switch onto Dozo for some reason, because we still want to try and find a way to throw this game. And Liquidation's gonna be used. That's not exactly what you're looking for. And luckily for us, the Slowking has decided to trick us 8-choice specs. And, well, Liquidation could win, except for Vikavolt's faster. And it picks up the kill. Now, my question earlier is, why did you not just discharge twice? Why did you do all that extra stuff where you tricked it? Like, that didn't make any sense, Zera. Come on, man. Make good plays. Like, you shouldn't be making me look like this when I'm watching your game. Anyway, we have Game 3 situation now between Spirit and Zera. Let's see what we've got. We got Screamtail lead versus a Vikavolt. Turn 1 rocks, very nice. We're going to get a discharge off, no para. No para is pretty unfortunate. We're going to try and Volt Switch as Screamtail's going for Protect. Now we are going to Volt Switch again on Blissey coming in. And I guess we just never learned because, you know, we don't have any fighting moves on our Valiant that we can just go for. Like, the fact that if you go into Valiant, it forces Spirit to, at the very least, switch into something that can take a fighting move. Like, it forces the Dondozo or something, right? Or it forces the Goldengo, and then you punish like, you just punish it for coming in. Like, you hit it with something. Like, do damage. Do damage. You're playing too hard. Like, Zera, watching this game, you have Vikavolt, Corviknight. That is your defensive core, right? And you have Slowking G, I guess. But you're going up against Mandibuzz, Blissey, Dondozo, and Screamtail. You are not out-defending this. Stop trying. Stop trying to out-defend this. Hit him. Swing. Break through. Swing! But it's okay. You know. Clearly, Zera has a game plan here. And that game plan is Volt Switch into... Oh, Lycanroc this time. I thought for sure that it was about to be Corviknight. My bad, everybody. My bad. Alright, Screamtail's gonna take 50% from a Stone Edge. We could go for it again, which is a terrible recovery move, but we're going to just switch into Corviknight again for no reason whatsoever. No reason. You let the Screamtail wish and get up rocks again for no reason. And you U-turn and you have accomplished nothing. In fact, rocks go up and now the Screamtail is at full HP because you went into Corviknight. What did you accomplish there? Stop fucking using Corviknight that much. Jesus Christ. This is so bad. Like... And this is the most normal match of the entire week. Like, you are tunnel visioned on this Corviknight. You think that this Corviknight is your god. You think it is bread and butter. You think it is alpha and omega beginning and the end. You think that this Corviknight is the air you breathe and the ground you walk on. And now it's dead because you let Goldengo get up a the Shadow Ball after a nasty plot. And then luckily for you, Goldengo misses the Focus Blast that would have probably just killed your Incineroar too. Incineroar is going to U-turn now. What are you going to go into? Finally, Valiant? It's too late at this point. You've lost your Corviknight. Now where is your defense? Where is your defense now? You played too passively, so now you have no backup defense. You needed to swing! You need to swing! Hit him! But it's too late. It's too late. Goldengo gonna get discharged. At this point, it doesn't matter. We're in. We are in. We are clicking Shadow Ball. We're going to get discharged again. Again, it does not matter. We are picking up our kill before we die. Vikavolt goes down. Now Zera has no defense. It is down to just the attack. In comes Blissey on Valiant. Literally, at this point, because you do not run a fighting move on your Valiant, the disrespect of putting a Blissey in front of a fighting type with as much attack as Valiant has. The disrespect. The disrespect to just say, I'm not scared of your Valiant. Here's Blissey. It's that bad. But it's okay. This game's not over yet. Lycanroc's gonna come in. It's finally gonna pick up a kill with Stone Edge. In comes Lopunny. We're gonna switch out because we're terrified of a rabbit that looks like an anime girl wearing yoga pants. We are scared of it. But I mean, like, I don't know. I guess you need Lycanroc for something. Like, what Pokemon out of what Pokemon does Lycanroc beat here? I mean, if you crit the Goldango, I guess, sure, yeah. Yeah, we're never punished for our mistakes. You know, we will simply crit the Goldango. Why does it matter? We will simply crit it. Anyway, at this point, Slowking's gonna come in and click Toxic, and then it's gonna click Toxic because this is Spec's trick. And then it's gonna click Toxic again, because at this point, Zera's brain has fully shut off and has stopped functioning altogether. Now we're gonna switch into Lycanroc, make sure we die to a frustration for free. And let me tell you, Lopunny, you're not the only one who's frustrated. Right now, after watching this game, I feel like both this and also, like, this. You know? I feel pain after seeing an Iron Valiant sit on the bench for an entirety of an entire match and then accomplish nothing. But it's okay. It's fine. You know? It will be all fine. Anyway, Spirit picks up the win over Zera. Very good stuff. And we go on to the next match. Next up, we have Shadow King, the guy who drafted, I think it was 7 water types, versus Tapu Koko. Now, I did make a funny little mistake. Why the fuck is there a Moltres against Mono Water, essentially? Like, why is there a Moltres? I don't know. I guess 100% accurate hurricanes be hitting different, Copium. Anyway, in comes Jirachi on the Sweeper Seismitoad. This is a offensive Sweeper Seismitoad. Earth Power is going to do over half to this Clodsire and get the special defense drop, but it's okay because Clodsire is going to get off Toxic, which stops us from dying immediately. Now we're going to sacrifice Jirachi, as this thing is only clicking Earth Power. I mean, things are going well, all things considered. We have, Samurott Hisui. Hisui's gonna come in and use Razor Shell, pick up the kill because we survive easily. This is probably an Assault Vest Samurott, if I had to guess. We are gonna knock off trying to hit the Politoed, but instead Shadow King is like, oh, wait, let me go into Barraskewda instead, and we get knock off plus Aqua Jetted for our troubles, and lose the Barraskewda for free. In comes Femboy, the Crystal Wolf, also known as Gardevoir. And it is going to use Moonblast on Moltres, which, you know, accomplishes doing 0 damage. Moltres could have gone for Hurricane there. Hurricane would have basically killed any Pokemon on Shadow King's team at this point, but we want to U-turn instead to Tapu Koko, letting Bulu come in so we can Volt Switch out into Scizor. Alright, very cool. Scizor is in. Now we can, like, Bullet Punch, right? We can just Bullet Punch twice. Alright, first Bullet Punch, we dodge Leech Seed, very, very good. But the second one won't kill, so instead of just, you know, Swords Dancing, because, you know, this Bulu can't hurt Scizor, we are gonna just U-turn out into Tapu Koko again, and now Tapu Koko is going to not pick up the kill with Thunderbolt, and basically let the Bulu heal out of range. And now we have to Volt Switch out again, because we're realizing that we are throwing the game. And now we go into Scizor once again. Horn Leech does 5%, and after the healing of Bulu, it's still not enough to survive a Bullet Punch. Now, in comes Crystal Wolf once again to use the Mega Evolution, and then die to Bullet Punch. Very, very solid play. And next we have Politoed, because we obviously need Rain still. Clodsire is going to come in, and he is a water absorbing boy. And Clodsire is going to just switch out, because I guess we were only there to see if he was going to do a water move. And Tapu Koko is going to come in, and even though it is in range to die to Aqua Jet in the rain from a huge power Azumarill, we, you know, we are not going to use Aqua Jet. And instead we are going to let the Tapu Koko kill the rest of our team. giving game 1 to Ive. Very, very good stuff. Very good stuff. Clearly. Yes, this is a strong play. This is a strong play. Alright, so next up, we have the same game. Same teams and everything. Different lead, though. This time, Tapu Copium comes out first, as opposed to Jirachi. We are going to start with U-Turn, which I believe does less damage than Volt Switch would have done anyway. But I guess in a world where you expect Seismitoad to come in, it's fair. Moltres comes in, and instead of clicking a free Hurricane, we decide to go for Will-O-Wisp to burn the Barraskewda. And now Clodsire is going to come in on Liquidation and be immune. This is very good. Shadow King is on choice banned. And Clodsire uses Gunk Shot, trying to make Tapu Bulu look like this. Now, tragically, Gunk Shot misses, and we go for Horn Leech, but on the second try, Clodsire successfully shoots its gunk all over Tapu Bulu, and causes Tapu Bulu to take massive damage. And, guess what happens? Well, I mean, Bulu doesn't die. But it's okay, we go into Scizor now, we can just click Bullet Punch at this point. You know, Bullet Punch picking up the kill on Bulu is really nice. It really makes our Tapu Koko go way, way hard. And in comes the Seismitoad, which is the only Pokemon that Shadow King has left to not lose this game, essentially. Now Scizor is going to U-turn into Samurott as the rain goes away, and Shadow King thinks that rain is a mandatory effect, and Samurott's going to get up Ceaseless Edge, and then it's going to get up Ceaseless Edge. Now there's 2 layers of spikes, and then it's going to get up Ceaseless Edge. And now there is no more rain for the remainder of the battle, and Ive has up 3 layers of spikes. And yeah, all of Shadow King's Pokemon don't want to come in on that. Clodsire comes in on the frog doing its thing, and it's simply going to just switch out because, you know, Focus Blast doesn't do anything to us. And now Moltres, after Gardevoir Mega Evolves, only takes 50% for Thunderbolt. Very bulky Moltres. Hyper Voice is used on the Jirachi, which does not do enough damage, and now we set up Stealth Rocks because we don't have enough hazards. Finally, the Femboy dies to Iron Head, and at this point, all of the other Pokemon die to 3 layers of spikes, plus Stealth Rock, plus Iron Head, plus whatever other ratio Ive decides to go for. Close combat is the only way to reduce ourselves to low enough defenses to die to burn. Azumarill comes in, and all Ive has to do is, like, U-turn into Tapu Koko, and it's a 6-0, right? Because Tapu Koko's at full. So surely he preserves the 6-0, right? Nope, we go into Scizor, and we let Shadow King pick up a kill. And also, this Azumarill had Aqua Jet the entire time. Which should really tell you that... What are these plays? I don't understand. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It just does not make any sense. But Ive does get the win 2-0, and next up we have Timba versus Bento. I don't know if you guys have been around the Cupid League for very long, but every time we have Timba versus Bento, or anyone really versus Bento, y'all are thinking, oh yeah, it's time to shitpost on Bento. Let's get his ass. So, let's go ahead and just get straight into the next game. Alright, we have Timba versus Pelipper, and obviously this is a free Thunderbolt, and Timba uses Thunderbolt, gets 31% on the Dragonite, the second one to 67%, and the Dragonite's gonna get up a Dragon Dance. Now we are going to switch into Tangrowth, sacrificing our Tangrowth to Dual Wing Beat because, yeah, I don't know. I guess we really need to keep our Raikou. So, you know. But, hey, guess what? We actually survived Dual Wing Beat, which means we can now switch. And Low Kicks is going to pick up a half HP U-turn on this poor Tornadus. And, like, at this point, you know, it's so much damage. But it's okay, because it's fine. Like, you know, you still have your... You saved your Specs Boy, so it's all good, right? So you go into Feeny, you know, Florges is gonna use Wish, it's gonna Wish past a Sneasler, and if I'm Bento, I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's time to Gunk Shot all over this boy, and Tornadus comes in on Gunk Shot, and yeah, guess what happens? Tornadus dies. The Sneasler does pick up the kill and makes the Tornadus look like this. In comes Nidoqueen to Sludge Wave back. There is no Thunderbolt on the Nidoqueen. I don't know why you wouldn't bring Thunderbolt when your opponent is using Pelipper, but okay. In comes Heatran now to use Magma Storm, but instead Pelipper comes in. There is still no rain. I don't think anyone has brought up the fact that this Pelipper is not Drizzle. But it's okay, because now it's going to die to Moonblast. And Bento is like, oh yeah, it's gunking time. But instead of gunking, he actually just goes U-turn. And now we're going to pick up some free Moonblast chip on Florges, which is pretty nice. We're going to go into Raikou, which is a Pokemon that is walled by Florges. I don't know why we would do that here, but we've done it. Now we're going to go for Thunderbolt as Wish Protect heals the Florges to full. Now we're going to go into Tangrowth for no reason. And we're going to take 35% from Moonblast, which is slightly more than we should be taking. And now we are going to go into Heatran, get our balloon popped, and we're going to go for Magma Storm and miss, which is very unfortunate. Now we are going to go for Stealth Rocks, expecting Protect, as Bento just goes straight into Aggron, and we are going to miss a second Magma Storm on the Aggron. Now, if I'm Timba, I am probably feeling like this at this point, you know? As you can see, like, I'm pissed. You know, I didn't deserve this. I worked so hard just to miss 2 Magma Storms, and I know for a fact that Timba is tilted. He's tilted as fuck at this point. This is a man who is tilted beyond belief. He just lost his whole Heatran for free, and now he feels like this. And I can't even say I blame him. In comes our Raikou. We go for a Specs Thunderbolt, and this is a specially defensive Aggron. It takes 83%, but it lives and kills us with Earthquake in return. And in comes the Feeny to use Surf again. We're going to taunt the Florges so it can't do Wish Protect shenanigans. That's very good for us. Now we are going to Moonblast, and Bento is going to Moonblast. And, well, you see, Bento's Florges gets taunted, and he doesn't realize that he can switch. But instead, Bento activates the Mangekyo Sharingan like his name was Itachi Uchiha, and he's going to click Moonblast over and over again, until Timba is essentially forced to switch Pokemon. Now we have a Protect coming out from the Florges, which is very useful, because, you know, I guess it tricks Timba into switching into Tangrowth, and Tangrowth's going to go for a Sludge Bomb that does 22% and gets a Poison, which is very useful, but the issue with Timba's team at this point is he has no Pokemon that break this, and Bento is going to switch into Aggron on Knockoff, which is the only click here that loses, I'm pretty sure. Because, like, what are you knocking off? What are you knocking off? The Life Orb? Okay. What are you knocking off? Leftovers from the Florges? It's not staying in. What are you knocking off? The Low Kicks? The Life Orb on the Low Kicks? That doesn't save any of your Pokemon from dying at this point. And even with the crit knockoff, you do 10% to the Aggron, and it survives after crit knockoff and Stealth Rocks damage, gets a huge Wish Heal from the Florges, and is now going to kill you with Avalanche. In comes the Nidoqueen. This does get to pick up the kill with Earth Power at this point, which is very good. But at this point, both of your Pokemon die to the Sneasler. But for whatever reason, Bento decides to go into Low Kicks because he likes losing the game. And in comes the Sneasler, and it is time for Tapu Fini to look like this. And Tapu Fini faints. And in comes the Nidoqueen, and any attack kills at this point. And game 1 goes to Bento in a surprising fashion, I will say. I can't say that I expected this one to go this way, but maybe Timba will clean it up in game 2 and not make any, you know, huge blunders or miss 2 Magma Storms. You know? So, Aggron's gonna be the lead against our hero Raikou. Raikou is now going to Thunderbolt, and then it's going to get a crit Thunderbolt on Dragonite, and for whatever reason, Timba decides that it is in his best interest to not pick up the free kill on the Dragon Dance Dragonite, especially considering that last game, when we saw the Raikou's Choice Specs Thunderbolt hit the Dragonite, It did 60%. Timba seems to have forgotten about the ability multi-scale. Anyway, Dragon Dance is going to get a free setup on the switch to Worm Dad, and we are going to get a huge amount of Dual Wing Beat off, and we're going to die to Hidden Power Ice. That's pretty good. In comes the Sneasler, and if you know what I'm thinking, it's probably gunking time, right? But instead, Bento predicts the incoming Heatran with close combat and picks up the kill. And now we have a gunk shot on the Tangrowth. Pelipper's gonna come in, and you know, we were talking about this because this match was played on stream. We were talking about this. You know, Pelipper not having Drizzle means that Tornadus' Hurricanes don't have a 100% chance to hit, right? Surely that will never be relevant, right? Like that's you know, just a joke, right? Surely the Rain would be useful. Anyway, we got Pelipper. We're gonna try and Ice Beam this Tapu Fini, and now Pelipper is going to switch into Florges on the Raikou, as Raikou is going to now Volt Switch into Tapu Fini again. We are probably going to have a taunt play here, but Sneasler is going to come in, get Moonblasted, survive that pretty easily. Wish is going to heal us to full, and oh baby, Gunk Shot picking up the kill on Tapu Fini. And now we are going to U-turn out because Sneasler is a good Pokemon. Pelipper is going to come in, you know, be immune to Earth Power, and surely Thunderbolt is on this thing, right? Nope, we have Sludge Wave, and Sludge Wave does not kill. Big surprise, right? Now, if I'm Bento, Scald does more damage. I don't know why we didn't click Scald, and Timba is hitting us with the preempted GG, because you know for a fact that this man is pissed. You know, he's tilted as fuck, but it's okay, because Earth Power is going to pick up the kill on Sneasler. We go into our Tornadus here. We get U-turned for our troubles. We're going to pick up a Hurricane kill on Aggron Mega. And in comes the low kicks. And now all we have to do to not lose this game is not miss the low kicks. All we have to do is hit this Hurricane. We have to hit this. If we hit this, Nidoqueen comes in and theoretically can kill Florges with Sludge Wave. It is stab super effective after all. So we miss Hurricane, and at this point, I'm watching like this. You know, I feel so bad for Timba. You know, Bento is just getting so lucky at every possible moment, and now we get massive amounts of chip damage on our Tornadus for free, but it's fine. You know, Timba can still win if there is no Sucker Punch on the low kicks. Nidoqueen comes in, gets a crit, picks up the kill on Florges. I'm not sure the crit mattered. Low kicks is now going to U-turn, and well, we're gonna find out if it has Sucker Punch or not, and it does. And Bento actually ends up beating Timba 2-0. Timba, right now, looking like this, I don't blame him. I gotta say, I feel the same. Bento, you know, is celebrating, and I'm over here like, he can't keep getting away with this. He's way too lucky. How do you guys keep letting Bento get so lucky? And tragically, for Timba, you know, he has to deal with the consequences of his actions. And after this match, I'm just sitting there for a few minutes, and I'm just crying about it, you know? Rip Timba. But, hey, good match for Bento, I guess. Next up is a match that we don't need to watch because this match was week 2. Next, we actually have My Fate versus Faye. My Fate versus Faye. That is the next match that we have to watch. Now, if you guys remember, I did say that My Fate's draft was atrocious. It may be the worst Draft League draft I have ever seen, but maybe with some proper play, he can skill issue his opponents to death. Surely, right? Well, let's see what happens. So, My Fate leads with Frostlass into Faye's Gyarados. Gyarados gets hit by Ice Beam and goes for the turn 1 Thunder Wave, looking like juvenile ship V3 out here. In comes Goodra. It takes 14% from Ice Beam, which is nothing, and My Fate decides that it is in his best interest to switch to Dusknoir. Faye reveals Acid Spray to half the defense of Dusknoir, as Darkest Lariat's used, doing solid chip, but then Dusknoir just dies to the Goodra. In comes Sableye. Sableye, for whatever reason, doesn't Mega Evolve and chooses to die to Draco Meteor instead, and at this point, Faye is just winning the game. My Fate reveals Body Slam Onix, gets the Paralyze, which is very strange. and Faye goes for Earthquake, even though Flash Cannon would have done significantly more damage. Anyway, you know, Banette comes in and uses Gunk Shot, trying to make Goodra look like this, but the problem with that is that Goodra is a Steel type, and cannot look like this from Gunk Shot. So now Goodra's going to get off a free Acid Spray, as Banette's going to Double Edge and accomplish nothing. We're going to miss a Draco Meteor for fun, and then we're going to get Body Slammed again, and then we are going to get Paralyzed, and then we're going to get Body Slammed a third time, and now we're going to hit Draco Meteor and pick up the kill on Banette. Very good. Honestly, My Fate's only down 3 Pokemon, and for whatever reason, this Gengar decides to try and go Super Saiyan and set up a Focus Punch, but instead it gets Earthquaked and simply loses focus. That's right, Focus Punch Gengar. You guys have never seen some shit like this before. Anyway, Dazzling Gleam's gonna pick up the kill on Goodra. That was at 5%. That shit was looking like Orochimaru when Sasuke fought him. That shit had no HP left. And, simply put, all you had to do was click an attack that wasn't Focus Punch, and you would have killed it. But instead you clicked Focus Punch, and you let yourself get Earthquaked all the way to near death, and now Gyarados is going to come in, survive your Energy Ball, and kill you with Grunch. And at this point, this Gyarados is going to win the rest of the battle. Onix reveals Ancient Power, which is a terrible move. But it's Onix, so it's always going to be terrible. And Iron Head is going to do 91% to Frostlass. You're going to pick up the kill with Ice Beam, and then literally any Pokemon comes in and kills this Pokemon. So game 1 goes to Faye. And honestly, after watching that, I am suffering, and I want this one to be over quickly. So let's just go ahead and get into the next game. So My Fate is going to lead with Dusknoir, and get knockoffed, and not have an item. Fun fact, the Dusknoir did not have an item, otherwise knockoff would have worked. Onix is going to come in, also get knocked off, also not have an item, and use Drill Run on Gyarados, which is immune. Now, we have Waterfall on Frostlass, and Crunch on Frostlass to follow up, and Sableye is going to come in. This time, Sableye will Mega Evolve, and use Foul Play to do some damage to Goodra. This is actually a solid play. And now, after an Acid Spray, Sableye is going to die. But we get off some Dazzling Gleam chip at least, and there's the Draco Meteor that kills the Sableye immediately. In comes Gengar, and it Terastallizes and uses Destiny Bond. Well, Terastallizing's not legal, and My Fate gets the game loss for that. And I know that it says My Fate won the battle, but Faye is the one who forfeited. And honestly, My Fate has chosen not only to not learn from my advice, but he's also chosen not to learn from other people's mistakes. So honestly, in response to that, like, how do you guys even, like, everyone is looking at My Fate like this at this point, you know? What is My Fate even doing? You know, what is My Fate even doing? My Fate, we told My Fate to read the rules, and he looked at it like this, you know? Like, there is no understanding there. And now we have our final match. This one happened this morning. I had to stop watching mid-game 1 because of how bad it was. Now, let me explain everything that happened in this match in good detail, because I feel like it is very important that you all know. So, we have lead Tapu Lele versus Juvenile's Kiruim, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Kiruim and Tapu Lele have the same speed at 317. Now, Tapu Lele shits on Kiruim because of the move Moonblast. That being said, Juvenile is not the smartest person most of the time, and he's probably going to just let Kiruim die to Moonblast. Especially if this Lele is Specs. Luckily for Juvenile, though, he does have access to a Mega Diancie in the back, which, if you look at Mr. Titan T's team, literally solos his whole shit. Now, let's see how Juvenile is able to cope with having a Pokemon that 1v6s an entire team. So, turn 1 Mr. Titan T goes for Focus Blast, which is actually weaker when super effective than Moonblast against this Pokemon, because Moonblast is boosted by Stab. So, Moonblast would have been more damage, and guess what? Juvenile reveals Flash Cannon, dealing 60%. Now, you know, if I'm Juvenile, surely I want to keep my Scarf Kiruim alive, assuming it is Scarf, for the Charizard, right? Well, Juvenile decides to bet the entire game immediately on a Flash Cannon 50-50 speed tie. And guess what? He wins it. He's never punished for his play. But in comes Charizard, and if I'm Juvenile, all I would be thinking at this point is, okay, great. All I need to do is not sacrifice my whole Diancie to the one Pokemon left on Mr. Titan T's team that actually threatens it out. So, we're gonna Flash Cannon on the Charizard as it Mega Evolves and goes for a Dragon Dance. And then we're gonna go hard into Diancie as it Dragon Dances again, and we lose our Diancie for no fucking reason whatsoever. Huh? Okay, fine. And now we go into our Excadrill, which is Focus Sash, which we could have gone into in the first place. It's okay though, the Charizard is dead, and so is our Pokemon that solos Mr. Titan T's team. All Mr. Titan T has to do at this point is just not lose. So Iron Treads is going to get up a Rapid Spin, boosting its speed to be faster than Hydreigon. Now we're going to switch into Chansey to wall this Hydreigon into next week. Hydreigon is going to use Draco Meteor, doing half to Chansey, as Chansey's probably just going to soft boil off all that damage. No, actually, we're going to pull a Juvenile against Juvenile and try to Thunder Wave the Pokemon. In comes Zeraora to click Plasma Fists. Buzzwole's going to come in, take literally no fucking damage from a Drain Punch, and we're going to go for a Bulk Up as Kiroam comes in, and Juvenile is really, really preoccupied with clicking moves that all of Mr. Titan T's Pokemon resist. So now we pick up a Drain Punch kill, and Zeraora comes in with Acrobatics to do no fucking damage once again. And Buzzwole is now at 95% HP, and we sack it to a Iron Head from the Buzzwole. Now, I'm going to pause this here, because Juvenile has three choices. Okay? There are three choices here. There is Hydreigon, which has Draco Meteor, and Draco Meteor crit, especially with Life Orb, has a decent chance of killing this Buzzwole. So there's a 1 in 25 chance to win the game if you go that way. You have a Victini. Victini has the moves V-Create, and also, in addition to V-Create, Victini also has, Stab Psychic moves. But V-Create is the main one here. V-Create will most certainly put a sizable chunk of HP into this Buzzwole. There's also the third option of go into Zeraora, which does absolutely nothing in this situation. In fact, Zeraora is the worst possible switch you could make here. So Juvenile sends in Zeraora, and this shit is reminding me of Rock Lee versus Gaara, and we all know how that shit ended up. So, in comes Rock Lee to try and fight Gaara. We use Plasma Fists, deal 20% damage, and die to Iron Head, just like in the anime. And now Juvenile has lost yet another Pokemon for literally no reason. In comes Chansey on V-Create, because now Juvenile recognizes, oh wait, I had a Pokemon with V-Create. Oh, I should have used that. Well, tragically for all of us, V-Create crits Chansey, and these two think it matters, but actually running the calcs, it does not matter. It is a solid 2-hit KO. So the second V-Create does kill this Chansey. In comes Iron Treads, and all Mr. Titan T has to do here is click Knockoff, because let's be honest, this shit's at halved defense. You don't need to click Earthquake, right? And this Pokemon has Levitate. It's immune to Earthquake. So why would you click Earthquake? Like, if Juve's gonna try and keep this thing alive, Earthquake is never the move you click. So Mr. Titan T clicks Earthquake, and Hydreigon's gonna Nasty Plot, and at this point, it's fine. It's fine. This is Nasty Plot Hydreigon, and assuming this Victini is Scarfed, like, you survive V-Create with Volcarona, right? So all you have to do is not throw away your Volcarona for no reason. The Hydreigon goes for Nasty Plot, which is, pretty scary. Very scary stuff. In fact, the only way you can really die is if Hydreigon is going to set up on you. And all you have... Okay, so, like, really all Mr. Titan T has to do to win this game at this point is just not sacrifice this. Like, you go into Buzzwole. Buzzwole's not very useful here. You just sacrifice Buzzwole to this, and then you bring in Volcarona, and then you clean up that way, right? Because this Pokemon should be faster than Victini, provided the Victini is not Scarfed. So we use Knockoff here. We knock off the Life Orb, and we go Nasty Plot again with Hydreigon, and at this point, Draco Meteor kills all of Mr. Titan T's Pokemon. But, you know, as long as Mr. Titan T doesn't throw Volcarona away for no reason, we should be fine, right? So Mr. Titan T switches into Volcarona! But Juvenile is even worse because he goes for Nasty Plot because he decides that he needs to be +6 for no fucking reason. And Volcarona picks up the kill with Bug Buzz. And at this point, it's over, right? You know, all Juvenile has to do is just click until he loses, right? Well, tragically for all of us, Bolt Strike paralyzes the Volcarona, making Victini now faster. And then we go hard into Iron Treads, and maybe Iron Treads is faster. Surely Iron Treads is faster, right? We switch out, we go back into Volcarona for no reason. We lose our Iron Treads to Zen Headbutt. Alright, that's fine. Buzzwole comes in. Victini uses V-Create, lowering its speed and its defense. Okay. At this point, Mr. Titan T's dog could win this game. This Pokemon we are looking at right here, Iron Treads, has 4 moves, 2 of which are super effective. This Victini is at 43% HP and has reduced defense. There are 2 moves here that win the game on the spot, and there are 2 moves here that lose the game on the spot. Mr. Titan T's dog could shit on the mouse or the phone screen or whatever device Mr. Titan T is playing on and win the game half of the time. You want to know what happens? Mr. Titan T clicks Rapid Spin, does not kill the Victini, and dies to V-Create. And Juvenile snatches victory from the jaws of defeat, and Mr. Titan T manages to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And this is the worst game of all time. It genuinely is. I was watching like this the whole time. These 2 people have been in my draft league from the beginning of time. And honestly, I had to stop watching this game in the middle of the game. Once the Zeraora came in against the Buzzwole, I stopped watching. I was like, this is too much for me. I was like this. I had to go outside and touch grass. It was that bad. And now, Juvenile wins this game, somehow. Let's get into game 2. I don't want to see this shit anymore. Alright, game 2. Juvenile just leads the Excadrill. We have an Iron Treads lead. Very cool. Earthquake. Very cool. We know this is Sash. Earthquake again. Yep, there's the Excadrill with a Sash. Big surprise. We're gonna hard switch because, you know, for whatever reason, we think that it is a good idea to keep an Excadrill at 1% HP when it does literally nothing. Iron Treads is going to set up a Rapid Spin now, and instead of going for rocks like a logical person, we are going to let ourselves get flamethrowered with our Occa Berry, crit, and die. So now we don't have rocks, and that justifies Juvenile saving his Excadrill at 1 HP. That should really tell you, that should tell you exactly what kind of bullshit these 2 were on. This, like, for what? Like, for what? You obviously click rocks. You obviously click rocks. How do you not click rocks there? I don't understand. But it's okay, we have Lele. Lele's got Moonblast. And for whatever reason, Juvenile decides, yes, it is time to click Flamethrower, and Lele has a move that's 4 times super effective and kills the Hydreigon immediately. Very cool stuff. In comes Excadrill, which is slower than Lele and dies. Very good, Juvenile. You successfully saved your Excadrill at 1% HP to accomplish nothing. In comes Kiruim now, also to take a Moonblast, but it's okay. We're faster, we win the speed tie or something. But Moonblast, as you can see, does do more damage than Focus Blast did. In comes the Rotom, takes no damage, 4 times resistance of the Flash Cannon. Zeraora is going to come in, and Mr. Titan T, for no fucking reason, decides to click Thunder Wave once again. He has adopted Juvenile's philosophy of always click Thunder Wave, even when there's no point. You could have clicked Hydro Pump, and it is it kills the Kiruum, it's neutral on Zeraora, it kills the Diancie, and it kills the Victini, probably. But you decided to click the one move in this entire game right now that does nothing. Alright, and Zeraora is going to get off Plasma Fist, doing half to the Rotom, and now you are punished for your hubris and your goddamn bad play by missing a Hydro Pump. Now you have to protect. You're going to try and protect, get out of range of Plasma Fists. Hopefully you live. Now we're going to go into Chansey, and Chansey is going to take nearly half from Plasma Fists. And what is Chansey going to do? It's going to survive the second one and use Soft Boiled. Now, I don't know about you guys, but Juvenile decides it's time to use the Mangekyo Sharingan, and he only clicks Plasma Fist for the remainder of the fight. But tragically for Juvenile, Mr. Titan T also has the Sharingan, and boom! Now we are just going to sit here as Juvenile fishes for a crit Plasma Fists, and Mr. Titan T is going to sit here and continue using Soft Boiled and heal ever so slightly out of range every single turn, over and over again. And yeah, it's just Plasma Fists versus Soft Boiled. That's all it is. It's just Plasma Fists versus Soft Boiled. Eventually, Juvenile will win with the 1 in 25. Surely that is a good way to play the game, right? Surely that's good logic, right? Maybe, just maybe, you know, we stop playing Hope Pokemon for a second and we do something real. And tragically for all of us, you know, Juvenile is still trying to get that crit, and then he finally decides, wait, this isn't working. And then he switched. And now Kiruum comes in on Buzzwole and lets the Buzzwole roost, and Kiruum just dies to a Drain Punch. Buzzwole gets the attack boost. Victini's gonna come in. Surely this is V-Create, right? Okay, good. We're not gonna mess around this time and let the Buzzwole run off on the plug twice. Tapu Lele is gonna come in. This does threaten us out, and Juvenile decides to go into Mega Diancie. We take very little damage, and Juvenile Mega evolves, and somehow this Mega Diancie with base 110 speed is slower than the Z move using Tapu Lele with 317 speed. So we lose our Mega Diancie for no reason. Once again. Now Zeraora is going to come in, use Volt Switch. Okay, we're going to get out of there, get into Victini. I mean, you could have just gone Rotom there, but instead we go into Charizard. We let this thing Bolt Strike us, and for some reason this Charizard survives, because we were just never punished. And we didn't even Mega Evolve with the Charizard, which is Mega Charizard X, by the way, to make it so we resist Electric. But it's okay, because since we lived, we are now going to Mega Evolve and successfully Earthquake off the rest of the team. Oh boy. I mean, like, what is there even to really say here? Let's just get into Game 3. I don't want to see this anymore. We have the same lead as last game. We have Earthquake scenario. This time the Iron Treads with the Shuka Berry, and we are going to Rapid Spin off the Excadrill, and now we can go for Earthquake. In comes Weezing Galarian, we get knocked off, and reveal an Assault Vest. After that, Juvenile Ship clicks Protect after his Assault Vest is knocked off, and everyone who is watching who has any semblance of knowledge of Pokemon at this point is like this. Why are you using Assault Vest and Protect? Juvenile has never read what an Assault Vest does. I have seen this because last night I held a Pokemon tournament where he was defeated by a slack-off, toxic, Protect, Earthquake Hippowdon, and he asked if that shit was vested. I know for a fact that if Juvenile has ever read an Assault Vest and knows what it does, he looked at that shit like this, and he was like, oh yeah, this shit just gives me a free special defense boost? Let me put that shit on all my Pokemon. But, you know, to the untrained eye, or I should say to the even slightly trained eye, we are all looking at Juvenile like this right now. We like, everyone knows Assault Vest locks you out of being able to use non-attacking moves. So after the knockoff, the Wheezing Galarian successfully gets off a Protect because it no longer has an Assault Vest, and rocks just go up. In comes Kyurem to take 25% from rocks as we go for knockoff, and we take the Kyurem's Choice Scarf as well. In comes Chansey, which walls this thing forever. And Kyurem has to leave. Victini is going to come in now. It's going to take 30% from Stealth Rocks, or 30% from Seismic Toss, and 25% from Stealth Rocks. And now you're going to Seismic Toss again, and another one of those will kill, but for whatever reason, we've decided that it is time for us to go into Iron Treads and let Iron Treads die. But that's fine, because in comes Charizard to click Dragon Dance, and, well, I got some bad news, everybody. This Charizard wins the game at this point. It has Steel Wing, Earthquake, and Dragon Claw. There is no Pokemon on Juvenile's team that resists or takes neutral from all three. Every Pokemon is weak. And yes, this Charizard does end the game. There is no miss. The game is over. Everyone... What can I say? Chat, I want you guys to know, YouTube, I want you guys to know that after this game, in the Discord, Juvenile said, "This team ain't it. I am not used to using Pokemon like Mega Diancie. I want Pokemon that hit hard. Mega Diancie is slow as hell." To which I responded. This was not all in one message, by the way. To which I responded. Mega Diancie has base 160 attack and base 160 special attack. It is the hardest hitting Pokemon you have ever had. Not only that, it has base 110 speed. It is faster than Mr. Titan T's entire draft, minus the Sceptile that he did not bring. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. I didn't. Get out of my sight.